Hey everybody, this is Grace, and today I've been getting caught up on videos on this channel, and I listened to them before because when I edit them, I've already uploaded them in the past, and listened to them so I can put it in the tags and really remember everything I said, and because Adam uses his computer for work. And the whole weird thing about these new routers and stuff, I have to do it on my iPad, and the iPad is not that great to edit videos. I have to write the tags down to go back and put them in. It's frustrating. It really is. But some of the topics that I had, the oldest two were about, I think all three of them that I've listened to so far. I had mentioned in this thing called illusory pattern perception, and it's basically when people don't connect the dots right. And it's like when they come up with all these kind of conspiracies, and another term that was actually in scholarly journal articles, as I've said in all those, was called pseudo profound bullshit. It actually said bullshit. And that surprised me, as I said in those other videos. And but it's really when people just believe anything people say because they know how to say it to make it sound so profound, like such a deep thought, and they've really worked it through, when it's just basically bullshit. And some people are that gullible that they will believe it no matter what the reality says. But these are also people, like some of this research says, and I've said before I read the research, that they don't want to be in touch with actual reality. It's too harsh for them. Okay, or they want an easy answer, easy way to, understand the reality, and they're just believing in bullshit. And they also have a thing, like maybe they weren't the brightest or aren't the brightest crayon in the box, like some people say. They didn't learn much when they were young. They failed in school, or they just didn't do much homework. They were too busy. I knew somebody like that. She did not want to she just wanted to play when she was a kid. All she wanted to do was play. And in high school, all she wanted to do was mainly gossip or something like this. And she didn't want to concentrate on her studies. So she barely made it through. And, some of them are this. I'm not saying all. None of this is all. I'm not an all or nothing or all or none people, black or white or anything like that. Polar opposites on everything. No. But these are people who basically are. You can often hear them say things like, everybody knows that. Everybody, come on, that you think the same way I do. That everybody does. Everybody. It's always that way. It's never that way. This is what they say. It's bullshit. Again, it's BS. And because no, not everybody, but they try to make it sound profound. But usually what they do is copycat other people who have made it sound profound already. They're just some mantra mentality. They say it like They just get it from other people, steal it, and claim it as their own, or just don't even say. And now the videos I had watched, I think 3 of them, I made them in September. I think the last. I think there's one of them I haven't listened to, and it was September 30th. And this is October. Yeah, I'm catching up with my own videos. And I think it's very strange that I do something like this. I'll make the videos, like sometimes I can make 2 a day. And then, I make like 2 a day. But I only will make public one basically every other day. And that is, I have more than one channel, on all channels combined. Not one on this, not one every other day on this channel, one every other day on that channel. No, it's all of them. I might have one this day, 2 days later, one on another channel. See what I'm saying? Okay, I got my mask on. And also, much of what I was saying in these other ones, I forgot where I was, but what I was saying in these other ones was that I wanted to move to something more positive, more, not so negative. And I think the last one I listened to, I said, no, if there were more information out there when I was younger about this kind of thing, how could it have shaped my life for the better? So basically, I went through all that. I hope this guy behind me doesn't hit me. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Big old truck. He's got, I don't know what in that trailer behind it. I think she's going to go outside. But anyway, but I do want to talk more about this pseudo-profound bullshit. I never did finish all those articles on it. That tends to happen to me. I read some of, I think, each one of them. But it's basically stuff I've already said and how I see it. One part I have a problem with is when they... Hold on. Okay, so, where was I? But I do have a problem whenever they want to call pseudo-profound bullshit, they want to call people who are, religious. Okay. That. When they add that, I had made a video for one of my other channels that I basically go into more detail about how I see that that's wrong, that they do that. Because they also combine it with paranormal and conspiracy theories. And they're basically mixing apples, oranges, grapes, and whatever I said. Because they have all these different things. And the purposes and the people behind them, the types are different. And they're not separating it out enough. I have a whole video, like I said, but not on this channel, about how I see that. Yeah, and my degrees are in psychology and sociology, and believe me, research is something that I had to learn. I haven't used it in a while, but it's not like it just disappears. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, I hope you can understand me with my mask on. But I've also mentioned this about my mother had been a conspiracy theorist, and something I want to talk about is concerning her and what may be a problem for other people. And like I already said, it's when for some it could be that they have a really difficult time really just believing in their life of what's happened to them and what might continue be still happening to them. So, like some form of abuse in the past, what is it these people doing? That they, having a hard time facing it, so they learned this behavior of, you're not supposed to turn there, dude. But they learned this kind of behavior to explain, try to explain what had happened to them in terms that they could, and especially if they were children, they might not have been able to explain, and sometimes the parents may be the ones who, cause the abuse, and they don't have any adult to explain it to, to tell it to, and then have it explained to them, you see, and so they make up some kind of like fantasy, and some of it is fantasy. It's not just conspiracy, but some conspiracies are sometimes fantasy. Okay, they're not real. It's not really what's happening. It's just what soothes them. And so some of them can find something that soothes them, like a mantra, and something they hear other people talk about, and basically they like chant it. You see what I'm saying? Sorry, but yeah, it seems like that one car caused a little bit of problems from people behind. Besides me, one SUV. But anyway, as far as my mom, I think that was the case for her. She, and my mother had agoraphobia. I believe that they didn't put it that way back then. They just basically, we knew it was some kind of anxiety, but she did not want to leave the house, and she often didn't leave the room. Her and my dad's bedroom. She just didn't leave it. And she was staying there basically all day just to come out and put some food on. She had 5 children. We all lived in the same house. She'd come out of the bedroom long enough to put some food on and go back into her bedroom and watch TV and stay in there the rest of the time. And going shopping. She went with her mother. She would bring one of us sometimes if we weren't in school with her, but it was once a week. Rush in and get stuff, go out. So I really do think that she had agoraphobia. And, okay, I don't know why you're just sitting there. But, yeah, and I watched her deteriorate as time went by. I'm not going to say this is what happens to people with dementia. I'm not saying this at all. But she did have dementia. She had dementia a very long time. And I do wonder myself if this has something to do with it. When she can never resolve the issue of the reality of her life. She couldn't. So she came up with all kinds of conspiracy theories. She believed in, ghosts, the paranormal, the UFOs, you name it, she believed in it. That was anything, an alternate, like an alternate universe kind of thing. And I just saw her deteriorate over her lifetime. My lifetime with her. She's passed about, almost 7 years ago. Anyway, now I can understand this. I can understand this. For people who can't, that they've just been through so much abuse, or they've seen so much abuse, both possibly. Now, when I was a little kid, I knew there was a difference. Some people went one way with it, and some people went the other way. When you know it, I'm sitting here with my mask on from the other place, and my nose is itching. But, okay. Anyway, I went to both of the places. We were going to get some chicken the other day, a box of chicken. We can freeze it. And he wanted a hamburger, so I went to both. And we can freeze the chicken, like I said. Anyway, I was talking about my mother, her deterioration of her mind, of her, as time went by, instead of facing it, the issues, because I don't think she really had anybody to talk to. And back then, it was not things like you could, going to a counselor was just not heard of, really, barely. And where she lived, and where, the whole thing, and it just got worse because, she had this anxiety, this agoraphobia, this panic attacks, all of this, and she was really like a shut-in with 5 children that were just, allowed they had to, all of us just do whatever you want. We basically had to raise one another. And when there wasn't one that was a good, one to do so, you see, I was the fourth child. And she suffered from postpartum depression after she had me. There's 5, so there's one younger. And I had to basically raise her, the 5th one. And everything, it was overwhelming for her. I do believe that everything, so much that had happened in her from childhood onward, that she turned to that way to help deal with her problems. All of those things, because there was no other way to do it. And that's why I say, this kind of information needs to be out there. Now, do I have a problem with people who are COVIDiots? People who are believing in all these conspiracies about it, who are believing in, that it's all a hype and a hoax and all this stuff? Yeah, I have a big problem with that, because they're harming other people. They could possibly be harming other people. And I have learned, I have seen it, and I truly believe, and not as a conspiracy, but as seeing and hearing, actually hearing what they say. Some of them are doing it for money. They're putting out all this misinformation and disinformation, and they will turn around and say something. They found out what their people who are watching them want to hear, and they will keep doing that like a mantra, even though they personally seem to not believe in it. And some even insult their audience. They, at some point start insulting their audience because their audience has listened to them. This is over time. And, insult them because they think they're so stupid. Like I've said in the other video, at least one, I think one. Some of these people are psychopaths. They're psychopathic. I'm not going to diagnose anybody, but their behaviors are psychopathic. They kind of want these people to, some of them, like I said, want people to believe in that bullshit and die, or get very ill. It's like so exciting for them. So sadistic. So it's just exciting. Yeah. But that some will still do it. Now, do I have a problem with a person like that? You betcha. You betcha I do. And yes, some could say, well, they probably had that same kind of thing, too much in their lives and all that. True. Like I said, when I was a child, I knew there was a difference. I knew that some would go one way, others would go another way, or other ways. Some would, become really good people and not harm anybody else. Some would call them empaths. But some of them would not. Some of them would just dig into it more and more. And some of them you can't blame the child that was, that was basically abused. But as they got older and they became adults and they decided they wanted to stay going that way, yeah, we can point a finger at them. And also, some of these people that have, they're not terribly, abusive, but they might, what some people call, have narcissistic fleas, the bad behaviors you can pick up from the narcissist. That's what I've heard. I wouldn't really call it that, but yeah, that's what some people call it. And you can pick up bad behaviors. You can grow up in a totally dysfunctional family and you don't realize that your behaviors are bad. I did. I know I started changing. I think I was one of those black sheep, definitely black sheep, that had a lot of empathy for others because of my own childhood. And so early on, as a child, I started questioning. My favorite question my whole life is why? 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 And so I started questioning things and questioning my own behavior of why was I taught to do this way? Why would I behave that way? Why would they think that way? These things. But some don't. Some don't. They just do. They just do whatever it is. And some think about it and say, I might have been raised this way, but that was wrong. That was really wrong. But this type, they don't question it. They say, do I get a benefit from it? Can I get more if I act that way? See? Okay. Okay, yeah, I stopped there. So, then I forgot I had it going. I thought I turned it off, but I hadn't. Anyway, they weren't doing their siren, which when I was a kid, they said that if they were not doing their siren, it means that somebody died. So, yeah. Anyway, that kind of put. I think it's best time for me just to end this video. I've said what I had to say about this, and yeah, for this video. But I do think that some people have a problem like my mother did. So anyway, wrapping it up.